So my name is Katie Sweetman. I'm an astrologer here in Brooklyn, New York, and we are looking at the astrology of 2021, this big picture overview of what this year means for you, and of course, the finer points on what it means for each sign of the zodiac. So as I record this is January 23rd, 2021. Yeah, we were like already a few weeks into the new year, already starting to feel this new astrology that's coming in 2021. Again, my name is Katie Sweetman. I'm an astrologer and psychic medium here in Brooklyn, New York. And I know some of you on this call right now are my clients, or you've been on other webinars, and I'm really deeply grateful for you being part of my work and supporting my work, whether it's again through the webinars or some of you watch my Facebook Lives, you're part of my mailing list. I've been doing empowering astrology since 2010. It's when I first got this idea to share my perspective on astrology. And I have a very holistic view of astrology. You know, everything that I'm sharing today, of course, is a container for our experiences this year, but do not forget that you are that you are the other part to all of this. And how do you make choices that interface with this time? Because astrology is just time. And how do you kind of create the life that is most in alignment for you, most in alignment for your sign? Hang on, I'm just adding a couple more people to the live webinar. Quick housekeeping again for those that are doing the live webinar. If you are just joining now, you can put your questions into the comments box as we move along. I will not answer questions until the end of each section of the presentation, and we will of course do Q&A at the end of the webinar. So here's just a quick agenda. I'm Saturn and Virgo. I don't know if that means anything to you all, but I like to kind of keep things nice and tidy. So of course, we're going to see how 2021 is actually part of a bigger story, how we cannot look at 2021 as a standalone year and how it compares to 2020. And anytime you sit down and look at the astrology for the year, you have to look at the major players: Saturn, eclipses, major configurations of the planets. Like, those are the big drivers for everyone for the year, and it's how you can start to form an idea of what is going to happen for each sign overall. One of the major factors, or one of the major players this year, is something called Saturn square Uranus, which we will of course talk about. It's what's called a 90-degree angle between Saturn and Uranus, and how that is sort of bringing forward a story from 2018 into kind of more, we have to deal with it more in 2021. And then we have to look at the eclipses. The eclipses are showing where the sort of the major movement is happening this year, and how in 2021 we start to get a preview of a new eclipse story towards the end of the year. And then of course, a sign by sign overview. So here's how I'm looking at things. We've been in a vortex of change and evolution for a few years now, and you could argue that this has actually been a decade worth. And I think every year, everybody asks me, is it going to get better, Katie? Things going to go back to normal? And I'm not trying to sound like a pessimist. I think I'm just trying to be a realist, is that we are in a time of change. We are in a time where everything has to evolve. All you have to do is to see how things progress. The story of change and evolution progresses each year. 2021 is not going to be easier. It's not going to be better. It's just going to be different. It's a different story around evolution and change. And I think you all are probably here because you have seen change in your life on some level over the past couple of years in particular, and it's likely been profound. Profound, it could be something on the level of career, it could be something on the level of the self, meaning you have changed. You're not the same person you were 2 years ago. And maybe you think, well, why? Why now? Well, that's It's $1 million question. I can't answer why on a bigger level. I just know that it is now. And each year, whether it's 2020, 2021, 2022, so forth, is going to keep asking us to do the work. And I think for each and every one of us, the more that we do the work, the more that we have a really powerful year. It's the same reason why in 2020 was not a bad year for everybody. Was a difficult year? Absolutely. But I've had a lot of conversations with people where they're like, you know what, I've looked back and I have a lot to be grateful for, but it was actually a really good year in a weird way. And I think that if you use this energy for what its highest potential is, it can be a good year. Not an easy year, but a powerful year. One of the factors in the astrology this year is a lot of things are pointing towards Aquarius. Aquarius is one of the last signs of the zodiac. It's not talking about life on a personal level. It's talking about life on a global level, which means that the work that we're doing, and maybe you're thinking, well, I'm not an Aquarius. Well, here's the quick rundown of things is that you are all 12 signs. All 12 signs of the zodiac are somewhere within you. They're somewhere in your chart. So you might not be an Aquarius, but Aquarius is a major part of your chart. It could be career, it could be relationships, it could be how you communicate and use your voice. But that's a personal level, but nevertheless, on a collective level, we now all have to start looking outward. Aquarius is a sign that talks about what unites us and what divides us. Aquarius is the collective, it's humanity, it's society, it's systems and networks, it's science and technology. Looks like my doorman is buzzing my buzzer right now. Sorry about that. So when we get to each sign, the zodiac, or even each planet, we have to look at both sides of things, meaning every sign of the zodiac has two sides. It has the side that uplifts, empowers, and creates, and it has the other side that disconnects, that destroys. So there's two sides of Aquarius. There's a side of connection, humanity, support. The systems are in balance, things are equitable and fair. And then there's the other side. We're going to see this polarity in 2021. And I think when we start to get to the end of the zodiac, we see the divide even more. Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, the divide between the highest side of Pisces, for example, which is saintliness and these beautiful acts of service and compassion, and then the other side, which is loss or addiction or being completely disconnected on a profound spiritual way. As I mentioned, Aquarius does cover science and technology, and as you can imagine, and I know this is actually playing out in the world right now, science and technology are going to be a big factor in the astrology of 2021. It's possible that we see major scientific breakthroughs. Why? Saturn's in Aquarius right now, Jupiter's in Aquarius right now. It's possible that we have to create new systems and networks or new systems in order to create health. And certainly we're seeing this with the pandemic and coronavirus. A little fun fact, Saturn is where it is in the sky right now is approximately where it was when the internet was created as we know it in 1991. So the internet is going to the internet's having a Saturn return. Maybe that's a little bit of an intermediate point, but we're probably going to see something about the internet going to be a big focus this year. And certainly we're all on Zoom right now. We're all doing things remotely. So there's probably going to be new systems or new apps or new technologies to help us be in this new world that we're living in. The other thing is ideas and information. The lunar nodes right now are in Gemini and Sagittarius. So that means these are two signs that are about ideas, learning, education, travel. Gemini needs new ideas, new perspectives, new information, but that's where the North Node is. The South Node, by the way, if you're new to this facet of astrology, the lunar nodes are not planets, they are points in the sky. And wherever they are, talk to where the eclipses are happening. So if we have a North Node in Gemini right now, it means we are going to have eclipses in Gemini. South Node is in Sagittarius. We are going to have eclipses in Sagittarius. The lunar nodes are always opposite one another. They're sort of this collective compass point that we're all pointing towards over a coming year or a coming 18 months. So since 2020, when the nodes shift, I think it was May of 2020, they're now pointing towards Gemini. But they're also, the South Node is in Sagittarius. And the South Node in Sagittarius means that we have to collectively work on our karma around what do we believe in? What's truth? What do we put our faith in? What's wisdom? And also travel. Travel is such a huge theme right now. We can't travel, or travel is restricted in some way. And as I was saying, the South Node is in Sagittarius right now. So we are really digging into these deeper themes around truth and meaning. So this is sort of a broader overview of the astrology of 2021. Of course, we'll get down into the individual pieces and what it means for each sign of the zodiac. The other thing that I've been really stressing to my clients is that in 2021, a bigger story comes to a head. Now, this is a story that began in 2018, 2019. We'll talk about it a little bit more in a moment. And that story, it's as if we have one foot in a new life, but we have one foot in old life. And as you can imagine, if you've got one foot kind of going this way, you have one foot going the other way, there's going to be a tension. There's going to be a divide. And how do we start to resolve, as best we can, the split? Because there's a new life that's opened up for us, and probably for everybody on this call, you already know what that new life is, or you already feel the sense of this new life, or maybe you're stuck. We'll find out in the Q&A. But then you're feeling this old life that's still pulling at you. So how do you start to move? Or do you build a bridge? Or do you completely jump? So we'll talk about that in a few moments.